ఇంటర్మీడియట్ విద్యా రంగంలో అగ్రగామి మన ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఐఐటి జేఈఈ అయినా నీట్ అయినా తిరుగులేని విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్.
Yes, continuation to the last class. What are the another difference between the living and non-living organisms means? That is the homeostasis. Homeostasis is appears in the case of the living organism, but it does not appear in the non-living organism. Then at first you have to know what is the homeostasis, what is the osmoregulation, what is the thermoregulation means. At first homeostasis is nothing but maintenance of the constant internal environment, maintenance of the constant internal environment with respect to constant water level, constant salt level, constant body temperature is collectively called as homeostasis. What is the definition of the homeostasis means? Maintenance of constant internal environment with respect to water, salts and body temperature is collectively called as homeostasis. Means definitely always in our body water level must be maintained constant, salt percent have to be maintained constant, body temperature have to be maintained constant. What is our constant body temperature means? 37 degrees centigrade temperature is the constant body temperature of our body, that have to be always maintained as the constant. At the same time water level have to be maintained constant, salt level also have to be maintained constant. The maintenance of constant water level, salt level, body temperature is said to be as the homeostasis. That nothing but maintenance of the constant internal environment with respect to water, salts and body temperature. Of this maintenance of constant water and salts is said to be as osmoregulation. That is said to be as the osmoregulation, irrespective of surrounding, if in the individual's body constant water level, constant salt level, if it is maintained, then that is said to be as the osmoregulation, that is the part of homeostasis. Similarly, if constant body temperature, if it is maintained, then that is said to be as the thermoregulation. That is said to be as the thermoregulation. This is also part of homeostasis. Definitely constant water and salt level maintenance is said to be as the osmoregulation, and constant body temperature maintenance is said to be as the thermoregulation. Both thermoregulation plus osmoregulation together called as the homeostasis. In another word we can say homeostasis is nothing but thermoregulation plus osmoregulation is nothing but homeostasis. So that only homeostasis is equal to osmoregulation plus thermoregulation. Osmoregulation plus thermoregulation together called as homeostasis. Maintenance of constant internal environment with respect to the water, with respect to salt, with respect to the body temperature is collectively called as the homeostasis. Only constant water and salt level if it is maintained, that is the osmoregulation. If body temperature is maintained as the constant, that is the thermoregulation. So that only we can say homeostasis is equal to osmoregulation plus thermoregulation together called as the homeostasis. Then how we can maintain constant body temperature, how we can maintain constant water and salt level means thermoregulation is mainly by involvement of hypothalamus. This is the part of the brain. Hypothalamus is the thermoregulatory part in our body. Hypothalamus is responsible to maintain the constant body temperature. Then what is the organ which plays a greater role in our body to maintain constant water and salt level in our body means kidney. Definitely kidneys play a greater role in maintenance of the constant water and salt level, in maintenance of the constant body temperature. Hypothalamus, that is the part of the brain that is responsible to maintain the constant body temperature. In this way, this homeostasis principally appears in the case of various living organisms. That kind of the homeostasis is not appears in the non-living thing. For example, in the case of this marker, we cannot say, we cannot observe constant temperature, constant water level, constant salt level. So that only this kind of the non-living thing never shows the homeostasis. Homeostasis is characteristic feature of living organism. Homeostasis is a characteristic feature of living organisms. Homeostasis is not appears in the non-living thing. This is the next difference. Next one is the senescence. Another important difference between the living and non-living organisms is the senescence or mortality. So what is the meaning of the senescence or mortal? Means each and every living organism must be gets died at any one of the time in its lifetime. Definitely each and every individual after getting the delivery at any age of its lifetime, that maybe there may be chances to get died. So means if each and every individual, if it is gets died, then that is said to be as the senescence or mortality. Definitely mortality nature is appears in the case of the living organisms. This mortality nature is not appears in the case of the non-living. We cannot say non-living things are with the death nature. We cannot say non-living organisms are leads to death. Only death is appears in the case of the living organisms only. Death is appears in the case of the living organisms only. Means each and every individual's life is begins with the zygote. Each and every individual's life is begins with the zygote in sexually reproducing organisms. In sexually reproducing organisms, life must be begins with the zygote. Life must be begins with the zygote. Then how the zygote is gets formed? Due to the fertilization of sperm cell with ovum, this zygote is gets formed here. Definitely in all kind of sexually reproducing individuals, how that kind of the zygote is gets formed means due to the fusion of the sperm cell with the ovum, zygote is gets formed here. Due to the fusion of the sperm cell with the ovum, zygote is gets formed here. Later zygote underwent the cleavages. Zygote underwent the or undergoes the cleavages. Cleavages nothing but divisions. Mitotic divisions are said to be as the cleavages. Definitely zygote undergoes the divisions. Later that leads to the first stage of development, that is said to be as the morula. First stage of the development, that is the morula. Later that will be undergoes the further development to reach the blastula. Next stage of the development after the morula is the blastula. Later blastula undergoes further development and reaches the gastrula. Later gastrula furtherly undergoes the development and finally reaches to embryo. Again embryo furtherly undergoes the development and form the infant. Definitely in all kind of these sexually reproducing individuals, at first sperm cell is gets fused with the fertilizer with the ovum. By that way zygote is gets formed here. Later zygote undergoes the repeated and repeated mitotic divisions. Such repeated and repeated mitotic divisions are said to be as the cleavages. Finally, due to the cleavages, the first stage of development which is gets formed, that is said to be as the morula. Later morula stage will be developed into blastula. later blastula will be developed into gastrula, later gastrula will be developed into embryo, later embryo will be developed into infant. Later this infant gets delivered. After delivery, this infant will be gets developed into child. Child later gets developed into puberty age person. He reaches to the puberty age, that is the teenage. Later he becomes adult or middle age. Later he becomes as older. Finally he leads to death. So in each and every living organism life history, definitely this kind of these stages must be appear. Means each and every individual's life begins with the zygote. After it maybe reaches to the world, definitely that maybe leads to the death. Means older individual finally must be leads to the death. In that way, most of living organisms except protozoans, most of living organisms must be with mortality, must be gets died finally in its life history. That is said to be as the senescence or mortality. Here very important neat examination question is that why the protozoans do not have the death? Why the protozoans do not have the senescence or the mortality nature? What is the reason to not appear this senescence or mortality in protozoans? In the case of the protozoans, this death is not appear, senescence is not appear, so that only they are said to be as the immortal. Individuals, if they are with death, they are said to be as the mortal. If the individuals maybe leads to death in its lifetime, then that individuals are said to be as the mortal individual. Animals, if they are with the senescence or mortality, animals if they are with the death rate, then they are said to be as the mortal. But protozoans are immortal. They do not have the death or senescence, because in protozoans cytoplasm is not differentiated into somatoplasm and germoplasm. That is the main reason to not appear the death in the case of the protozoan. In all kind of the protozoan, cytoplasm is not differentiated into germoplasm and somatoplasm. Due to that reason only they are immortal. But in our body, in well developed other individuals' body, cytoplasm is differentiated into germoplasm and somatoplasm. Then at first you have to know what is the germoplasm, what is the germoplasm, what is the somatoplasm. Germoplasm somatoplasm. What is the germoplasm? What is the somatoplasm? Means in our body two types of the cells are present. One is the reproductive cell, second one is the somatic cell. Definitely the most of the animal, other than reproductive organs, cells which are present in the rest of body, they are said to be as the somatic cell. Again in reproductive organs, cells which are present, they are said to be as the germ cells or sexual cells. Specifically in the case of the reproductive organ, cells which are present, they are said to be as the sexual cells or the germ cell. In the germ cells or in sexual cells, whatever the cytoplasm which is present, that is said to be as the germoplasm. Cytoplasm which is present in the germ cell such as the sexual cell, that is said to be as the germoplasm. Except reproductive organ, in rest of area, whatever the cells which are present, rest of area means either the cells may be in hand, either the cells may be in leg, either the cells may be in stomach, either the cells may be in mouth, either the cells may be in lip, whatever it may be. The cells which are present other than in reproductive organs, such cells are said to be as the somatic cell. In somatic cells, cytoplasm which is present, that kind of the cytoplasm is said to be as the somatoplasm. Definitely in all living organisms except protozoan, this cytoplasm is differentiated into germoplasm and somatoplasm. Due to that reason, most of the living organisms maybe leads to death during its lifetime at any one stage. Individual maybe leads to the death during the childhood. Individual maybe leads to death during the middle age. Individual maybe leads to the death during the older. So that only we cannot say 100%ly each and every delivered individual maybe reaches to old age. Each and every individual may not be compulsorily reaches to old age due to any reason that maybe leads to death during any one or any stage of its life history. So that only most of the living organisms must be with mortal nature. Most of the living organisms are with senescence nature. Though protozoans are living organisms, they are immortal. They do not have that death because in their body cytoplasm may not be differentiated into germoplasm and somatoplasm. Due to this reason, protozoans are said to be as the immortal. Protozoans do not have the death character or senescence character or mortality nature. This is the senescence or mortality. Means this senescence is appears in the case of the living organism, that may not be appears in the case of the non-living thing. Next to another difference between the living organisms and non-living organisms is evolution. Next difference is evolution, definitely evolution is appears in the case of living organisms. Evolution may not be appears in the case of the non-living organism. So evolution is characteristic feature of living organism, but this evolution character is not appears in the case of the non-living. Then what is the evolution? What is the meaning of evolution? Means unfolding. Unfolding means formation of or development of complex organisms from the simple organism is said to be as the unfolding. Definitely unfolding nothing but gradual changes. Evolution nothing but gradual changes. Definitely in the case of the living world, continuously changes are going on. As a result of this only, the simple organisms maybe gets evoluted into the complex. For example, when we observe the protozoan such as the Euglena, this is the Euglena. Definitely in the case of the protozoan, entire body is made up of a single cell. Euglena body is made up of a single cell. So that only this is the simple one. Euglena is the simple organism. Gradually it underwent several changes during its evolution. During the course of the time that maybe underwent several changes, by that way only presented a humans maybe gets evoluted. Means what I am saying here that each and every individual may not be retains as it easily. Each and every individual must be acquires several changes during its lifetime. Such kind of the changes are nothing but evolution. Definitely, life is not stable. Life is not static. Definitely, each and every individual during its lifetime must be acquires several changes, several adoptions according to their living place. By that way only they may be gets evoluted into complex one. So in that way, life is not static. Life is not static means life is each and every living organism is undergoes several changes during its lifetime. That kind of the changes are responsible for origin of complex individuals from the simple individual. That is the evolution or unfolding. Evolution always indicates continuous changes in the living world. Continuous changes in the living world is represented by evolution. That kind of the continuous changes are appears only in the case of the living organism. Such continuous changes may not be appears in the case of the non-living thing. Means evolution is also appears in the case of the living organisms. Evolution may not be appears in the case of the non-living. Again, as per the evolution, As per the evolution, life comes from life only. There is one important statement. Life is always comes from the life, but not from the non-living, but not from the non-living organisms. Means what? Always from the protozoans, foriferans may be evoluted. Always from the foriferans, cnidarians may be evoluted. Always from the cnidarians, platyhelminthes individuals may be evoluted. In that way, always new life is originated from free existing life. Always new one gets originated from the free existing individuals only, but not from the non-living substances. For example, from the protozoans, foriferans may be evoluted. Foriferans may be evoluted. From the forifera individuals, cnidarians may be evoluted. Like that way, from the reptiles, humans may be gets or mammals may be gets evoluted. Means humans may not be gets evoluted from the wood. Humans may not be gets evoluted from the marker. Humans may not be gets evoluted from the non-living substances. Always living organisms or gets evoluted from pre-existing organisms only. Always new life is originated from the pre-existing life only. In this case, forifera is the new life that is originated from free existed life on the earth, that is the protozoa. Similarly, cnidarians are new life. Cnidarians are existed from, cnidarians are gets evoluted from free existed life, that is the foriferan. That is nothing but life comes from the life only. This theory is said to be as the biogenesis. Biogenesis theory. Life comes from the life is nothing but biogenesis theory. Means biogenesis theory always indicates us that always new life is originated from the free existing life only, but not from the non-living substances. Here we can say one important point. Evolution is also characteristic feature of the living organism. Such continuous changes, such evolution may not be gets appears in the case of the non-living thing. These are the principal differences between the living and non-living organisms. Next to another topic is branches of zoology. Next to another topic is the branches of zoology. What are the sub-branches which may be appears in the zoology? What are the various branches? What are the various sub-branches which are included under the branch of the zoology? Means one is the taxonomy. Taxonomy is the first branch of zoology. What is the meaning of the taxos? Means arrangement. Taxos means arrangement. Means this is the branch of the zoology which include the practice and theory of identification of an individual, nomenclature of an individual, classification of an individual is the principal aim of taxonomy branch. Definitely in taxonomy, it is a practice of identification again naming, that is said to be as the nomenclature, and classification of an individual is the principal aim of taxonomy branch. Means it always focuses on identification of the new individual. After getting identification, that providing a specific name, and later it provides a systemic position to the individual in the zoology. Means taxonomy always focuses, it is the branch of the zoology, it always focuses on identification of new individual, on providing a specific name to identified individual, after providing a specific name with the scientific rule to that individual, it provides a systemic position to the individual in the animal world. Means after providing a specific name, after thorough analysis of its characters, they finally decides whether that is reptilia, whether that is belongs to aves, whether that is belongs to mammalia. After that animal is a keep in that particular respective class, that animal is a keep in that particular respective phylum. In that way, taxonomy is nothing but a branch of zoology. It principally focuses on identification of an individual, on naming of an individual, that is said to be as the nomenclature. Naming nothing but nomenclature and classification of an individual. Very important objective question here. What are the sequential steps in taxonomy branch? How the question may be framed on this particular concept in the NEET examination means, how the question may be framed in NEET examination on this particular taxonomy branch means, what are sequential steps in taxonomy? What are sequential steps in taxonomy? So the first option is that identification, classification, again nomenclature. Second option, identification, nomenclature, classification. Third option, classification, nomenclature, identification, again fourth option, nomenclature, identification, and classification. So definitely of these four options, which one is correct means, in taxonomy branch, the sequential practice steps are first identification. It always at first prefer to identify the new individual. Later it provide the name to the individual with a scientific manner as per the zoology, International Zoology Nomenclature Code, as per the scientific rules. Definitely they provide the name to the individual. After that only they kept that individual in a specific phylum based on its characters. Whether it is the reptile, whether it is the bird, whether it is the mammal, after identifying it as its external features, definitely they may be kept it in a specific phylum or specific class. That is said to be as the classification. So in this first step is identification. Second step is nomenclature. Third step is the classification. So that the correct answer for this question is identification, nomenclature, classification are the sequential practice steps to that kind of the in that kind of the taxonomy branch. What are the sequential steps in taxonomy means? Identification is the first step, nomenclature is the second step, classification is the third step, that is the sequence. Then who is the scientist who coined the name of the taxonomy means? This name is coined by A.P. Dickendall. A.P. Dickendall coined the word of taxonomy. The word of the taxonomy is coined by the A.P. Dickendall. That is the first branch of zoology.